Howdy friends, kind of something that's very important to me. Enjoy the art form and the hobby and the craft of cigars, as you may have noticed. But I kind of wanted to do like a helpful hint for beginners, people that may be just getting started in cigars. Maybe avoid a couple potential pitfalls. First, get start by wetting your whistle as far as getting acquiring cigars. And sampling them. Your local brick and mortar stores are good for like if you happen to have here around my area, we have Wild Bill's Tobacco is a good place. They have an amazing walk-in humidor. It's massive. It's a small walk-in room, but it's like a massive amount of quality cigars, and just like it's a good way to get started in sampling some. But basically, when you do find the ones you like, you purchase. I go through a couple of different sites and I buy in bulk, but there's like a little catch with that too. As far as online sales go, they have taxes, and then there's what they call an excise tax too. So sometimes that excise tax, it's like basically the more you order, the higher the excise tax is going to be. So sometimes that offsets the actual savings that you have from making a bulk online purchase. So it kind of depends on, like, if it's a smaller sized online order, you actually might be better off traveling still to your local brick and mortar. It would definitely help to at least utilize the website, so you could price like Cigars International is about my favorite. And then there's also cigars.com, and each of those sites have daily cigar deals. As far as like, there'll be like a free shipping, and it'll be like an extremely discounted blend. On Fridays, Cigar International does 3 different deals. They call it Joe Cigar, I think, is the name of the special. And cigar.com usually has every day 3 different deals. So you can pick up discounted sticks, in like 20 packs or 5 packs or 10 packs. So a good way to get going. But like I said, compare as far as that excise tax goes. Maybe load up a cart if you already have a couple of varieties in mind and know how much you use, and load up a cart online maybe, and then see what that price is going to be, and then drive your ass over to the local store and kind of do a little comparison, because I think sometimes you come out relatively close. But those larger $100 plus orders, like generally you're going to come out on top going with the online stores. When you start buying like over 20, if you buy 20 packs and 10 packs, a lot of times you're not getting near as good of deals at the brick and mortar stores. You're going to be like double the price as opposed to taking advantage of some of those online bulk purchases. But that's at least as far as acquiring them in a more budget-friendly way. And then the next thing is, once you get your hands on them, they usually come, for the most part, they're all going to come individually wrapped in cellophane, and the cellophane is is porous, so these aren't perfectly airtight, so you can't just like leave these in the cellophane and expect them to maintain their same freshness and quality. They will dry out because it is a porous, so you can basically, storage is what our next topic is. Proper storage and on a budget. You may be tempted to go for like wooden humidors or something fancy, classy looking, such as something like this or this. And here we have a small one. It has what they call a hygrometer for measuring humidity. This one you can kind of store them any which way they'll fit, or it was kind of mainly designed to have them I thought this was kind of cool. But this is a Churchill. This is about 7.5 inch, so it doesn't actually quite fit in here. In this is on the longer side. Like I said, generally a Churchill size it's going to be about 7 inches, and so that's on the longer end of the stick, the spectrum. And like something like this fits. Problem with these are inexpensive. which isn't a problem in and of itself, but the fact that they're inexpensive ones, made of like pressed particle boards or board material that's lined with Spanish cedar. Usually, pretty much for the most part, all of your cigar storage is going to have Spanish cedar. Is what they apparently the characteristics of that are what they prefer. I think the way it holds humidity for a longer period, and also the aroma and scent, you know, that kind of it works well. It's not like a very invasive or offensive odor. So that's these are all like cedar lined, but the problem with these is, like, in order to really get good proper wooden humidors, you're gonna be like hundreds of dollars minimum for real wood and real airtight. The only problem though there is too is one of the biggest, most important issues that might get overlooked by somebody just starting out is humidity. Humidity is very important. That's why you'll see, like, you can monitor it with this guy. These are very notoriously inaccurate and junk, so you don't really can't really rely on these types of hygrometers up here. But even this guy, see, it's lined inside with Spanish cedar. But this, despite their relatively inexpensive price, something about 40 bucks. I think around 20. I mean, like, this is pretty sweet looking for 20 bucks, right? It looks awesome, but it's junk because it's not airtight, it doesn't hold its humidity worth a damn. This one is actually pretty solid. This one maintains, it's hard to screw something like this up. I mean, it's got felt lined, like it's around the inside, like the gap here, and it's felt here too. So the gap is actually quite airtight, I would say. I would still say this isn't very not insanely airtight, but this one for me maintains humidity well. But I would say basically what I was getting at the point is to shy away from those, to trying to be fancy, flashy looking. This one I would recommend out of the three we just showed. Like I said, this one holds the humidity relatively well and the temperature, and it's quick access too. I would recommend this. This is about 20 bucks. But we have a much better option. Rubbermaid. I'll post the image. The price, I think we're about 14 and some change, so 15 bucks for a Rubbermaid food storage. It's airtight. Got that rubber seal, and you can hear, kind of push the air out. This is basically, you know, it's not a vacuum obviously in there, but it's like damn near in essence creating a vacuum, because once it's sealed, you know, there's no really exchanges happening like with these types. The glass isn't actually fully sealed up into the wood, the seams, you know, it's poor quality construction, so it lets all that air in, humidity out, vice versa. It starts to get dry. This maintains humidity. And so what you want to do, so what did I say, $15, this is, like, in my opinion, the best way, other than the glass acrylic, depending on what your budget and as far as aesthetics goes. The acrylics, they're a little bit, just about a few more dollars, 18, 20 bucks for glass acrylics, and I think they're gonna hold a little less maybe than this size Tupperware. And they actually I think Rubbermaid makes even bigger, like a couple sizes more bigger. This is, to me though, this size is perfect. But you get this, get you one of these relatively inexpensive. You can get 2 packs, 4 packs. In my case, I have like 4 of these. So I bought a 4-pack of hygrometers from Amazon for 15 bucks. So that way you can maintain, let's see, we're 75% over, or of humidity. And these Bovida humidity, these Humipacks are 72% humidity. And so I have one 72 pack in here, and was it one or two Looks like just the one additional 72%, the small size, the little 8-gram size. That's a 60-gram size. To keep the humidity maintained in there. And you line it with just $8. This was about $8 for a pack. This is Spanish cedar strips. Thin Spanish cedar strips. You put those in there too to help line that. They're odorless for the most part. So you could when you get them though, you could wash it to make sure there's no plastic smell kind of in there. Because cigars can be sensitive to absorbing the container that they're stored in, absorbing those kind of flavors and odors and stuff. And so that Spanish cedar kind of helps still simulate your normal wooden storage container. Helps sort of like harbor some humidity within the cedar strip, to sort of kind of maintain and give back. But that's what these packs, these Boveda packs, are about 20. I think it's about $20 for this. It's a hair pricey for these, but these last for depending on what they're stored in, they last for months. And like I was only getting basically 1 month for two of these, so basically $10. I was only getting about 1 month, roughly about a month's worth of use before they would dry out of something like this, because it's so terribly inefficient. But it looks cool. It looks the coolest, the fanciest, But that's something that I feel like everyone should know about if they're getting into the craft, is that it's like these are really, stay away from these, because who cares how they look if they're costing you more money to actually have them, and they're not worth it in my opinion. I'm glad that it wasn't even if it was a $300 humidor made of entirely of real wood and better quality, it would hold my humidity much longer and temperature longer. But at the same time, the wooden ones are a higher maintenance item. You're gonna go through more. This is about the best option you have nowadays, as far as laziness, if like just convenience, whatever, for humidity. These they're like a two-way pack that sort of like gives humidity and takes back. That's how they can maintain it in the container. It sort of like pumps the humidity out, and then I guess once your cigars are sort of they've all kind of absorbed and they're all at that same level, then it sort of almost like can take some back too. The other option is much more of a pain in the ass, where they send these little tiny sponge-like plastic cartridge things with sponges in them that you're supposed to put 100% like pure distilled or reverse osmosis, distilled drinking water you're supposed to use, so there's no impurities. So then basically you kind of gotta always maintain, if you don't have access to that, easy access to that, because they don't want you using tap water, city tap water, or well water for that matter, because of the impurities. So you use those, and you kind of constantly have to be feeding and making sure and reading your hygrometers more often. And these right here, basically, because they're like, time, you don't always have the time, and I just like how these are set and forget, and they take your Boveda packs, and it's like this beautiful little ecosystem in here. But they take and make your Boveda packs last way longer because of their beautiful airtight seal. So now you're gonna get like over. The real main variable to that is if you only have one. This is all you kind of need for your supply or whatever. So, and if you're gonna be in and out of it a lot, then you're gonna be kind of letting out the humidity on a little bit more of a regular basis. It's gonna be a little bit more of an exchange. So then, yeah, you might lose a little bit of lifespan in your Boveda packs, but you're still going to be getting, basically, I would wager one of these 4-packs for $20 is going to last you probably like 14, maybe right around 14 months or something like that. Year and a half, actually. I would say you'd probably be getting a year and potentially. Like I said, that's gonna vary on your cigar quantity inside there, and also the frequency you're opening them, though, obviously. And they do offer, basically in the world of cigars, it's kind of like some people say 70-70, which means 70% humidity and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. As far as like proper storage, that's all a matter of preference. Some guys like their cigars a little bit on the drier side, and the 69% to even down to 65% humidity level. And then other guys like theirs around the 70, 72. I particularly, our house is inefficient, so it's generally like on the colder side in the winter and super dry. And so I like to have, I prefer mine too, like the wrappers almost can kind of get this slightly oily feel to them when they're like good and when the humidity level's up there, versus you'll know a dry cigar when you've had one, like the outer of the wrapper will like be flaky and kind of flake off in your fingers and stuff. That's really dry, and they don't burn the same, and they don't taste the same. So I personally like mine on the 70 side of humidity, because it's hard for me to maintain in the house an actual higher level of humidity. It's usually really dry in the winter and cold, so I don't really achieve the 70-degree temperature mark. But that is less important than the humidity, because the humidity, at least when your cigars are like harbored in this safe zone where they can just stay the same level and you can rest assured that they're at the same level, then it's much better than much more important than the temperature. The temperature really only aids in the like transpiration of the humidity into the cigar, really, because it could be a 20-degree cigar really, but as long as it was properly humidified, it's gonna be good. But I mean, generally you're gonna be in that like room temperature range. But if it's super dry, it doesn't matter. So those are just some, I think it's basically what I was wanting to capture as far as just to be helpful for beginners. This one I said I would recommend. It's nice, it looks nice, and it's just convenient. This is like what I call for my daily drivers or my frequent flyers. The ones where I don't feel as bad. I'll put the ones that I'm gonna like access, I know, like pretty much on a daily. I'll throw them, and I have a Boveda pack. I have a Boveda pack in there, and a smaller one as well. But you could fit about close to 20 depending on the size of them in here. Something like this, and I think we're over 20, and something like this. So you got a good range. And like I said, with this, this is I just had this out as an example because it happened to be on the not the largest you can get, because they make crazy. They make stuff, really crazy if you wanted to go crazy. But this is like what I would say is on the larger side. And as far as length, it's 7. It should be 7.5, 7.25. So it's definitely on the larger side, and you can see you can fit. So this size will accommodate. So will this though. This size as well. That's why I like this one too, because it's pretty much no matter what you buy, it's gonna fit in there. So there you go. It's a very efficient and a budget-friendly way to get going. And I guess we could take a little bonus. These are cheap though. Like a 2-pack is $10, so you can get one probably for $5. The hygrometer thing, but I have, like I said, I got 4 of these, and every single one of them reads right in line with the percentage on the Boveda pack. So right now, because we opened it a little bit, but we're at 71, still close enough. I don't know if you can see that or not, but 71 and 65.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So I mean, this is 72% Boveda pack. I would say that's pretty accurate, and you could skip the hygrometer if you wanted to, getting started, and trust that this is giving you what it says it's giving you. The only reason I would suggest it's still worth owning for such a little cost is the fact that you could at least then tell when your Bovedas are running out and when it's time to replace them, and you notice that your humidity is dropping down and is no longer up in your happy zone. But they make these in a different different percentages, but I would only recommend to go with either the 69% or the 72 for as far as cigar storage goes. That's generally what the aficionados are going to recommend. It's a passion of mine. It's more than just a dirty, stinky hobby, as some folks might say. It's an art form. It's a craft. These little handmade beauties, someone hand rolled them, and it's just like the all the time. And usually family generations of family like of the same family have like maintained and grew and perfected each of their blends that go into the cigars, and there's so much to choose from. It's overwhelming. You could probably go through a lifetime trying to sample all the cigars of the world. It's amazing, all the story behind each one of them. And yeah, some of them are pretty terrible, pretty cheap, low quality, but the ones that are on the high quality premium side, and like they usually come from like very old lineage, and they're very, and you can tell the difference. And it's just kind of beautiful, the story that's behind them too, you know, and the craft. And then and that family may have, you know, dozens of blends. So just you think of all the work that goes into them. There's a reason why this stuff is a little on the pricier side too, because it's you're buying kind of, in a way, you're buying art. Anyways, appreciate your time. I will see you on the next one.